today's session. As Van had earlier on mentioned, this is an open day session for undergraduate programs in the Bartlett School of Sustainable Construction. My name is Abdul Majid Mohammadou. I'm program director for one of the programs, which is the MSI in Construction Project Management. I'm also an associate professor in Innovative and Industrialized Construction. I'll hand over to my colleague Adrian, who's going to talk about the other undergraduate program, to introduce herself briefly before we make a start.
Hi, my name is Adrienne Tomo. I'm Associate Professor at the Bartlett School of Sustainable Construction. I'm a Program Director for the MEng of Construction Engineering, Innovation and Leadership.
Thank you very much, Adrienne. Okay, so we're going to start off with me giving you a brief introduction about our school and the faculty that we belong to, and then I'll go on to talk about my program for the next sort of 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll hand over to Adrienne to talk about her program. Okay, so I probably have already mentioned this. So in the beginning, I'll talk about who we are, and then we'll go on to talk about an overview of our undergraduate programs. And in the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So please feel free to ask us any questions in the end. So we've got a Q&A function in this webinar, so you can use that to put down your questions. And at the end of our presentations, we'll look at the questions that you have posed and then try to address them between myself and Adrienne, depending on who is more competent to answer which question. So who are we? So the Bartlett, as we are called, is actually the Bartlett faculty of the built environment. So we're the largest multidisciplinary hub for built environment education in the UK. We also happen to be #1 in the world QS university subject rankings for 2025, a position we have held consistently for probably the last decade. So here in our faculty, you generally would benefit from world-class academics and professionals, as well as research centers, generally in the area of the built environment. There are 13 departments in the faculty, offering different subjects or based on different subjects of expertise, including architecture, urban planning, construction, energy and resources, as well as policy and heritage. Specifically at the Bartlett School of Sustainable Construction, we focus on sustainable construction, project management, real estate, as well as the application of economics in the built environment. We've got almost 10 postgraduate programs, but also 2 undergraduate degree programs, both of which are integrated degrees, which we'll be talking about today. In terms of the specifically the department, we have also consistently been at the top of subject rankings for some of the popular university ranking systems, including the Guardian University Guide, on which we were #1 in terms of construction and planning subjects in 2024. So that probably gives you a general or brief overview about who we are in terms of a faculty, as well as a department. I'll now sort of move on to explaining what construction is briefly to those of you who might be new to the subject. I'd imagine that for most of you, you do have some interest to probably know what construction is. So generally, as is written on the slide, to construct is the art and science of building things. And the construction industry is in the business of building all of the man-made aspects of the environment, which we do refer to as the built environment. And so this includes buildings that we live in or work in, or that we creating. So where we have social activities such as sports, or where we might go for healthcare. So of course, schools, our houses, and then as well as hospitals. So these constitute the man-made aspect, and also all of the infrastructure that supports our daily life, from transport infrastructure to the energy infrastructure. So the roads, the rails, the bridges, all of those constitute the built environment. So they are part of the environment, but they are made by humans. And construction is sort of responsible for delivering those pieces of infrastructure as well as buildings. And when we mention construction, it refers to all of the allied industries involved in the entire life cycle of delivering infrastructure or a building. And so this would include extraction of the materials that are used in building, through mining, quarrying, the forestry to get those materials, the financing, design, and the delivery or construction itself, which some people would call the execution of the project, as well as after the projects have been built, maintaining them and repairing them so that they continue to be in use or in operation. And at the end of their life, demolition and disposal of the assets would all constitute the life cycle of construction. And so all of the activities that happen across this life cycle is considered as construction, and thereby also constitute the construction industry. So that, and we've explained this because specifically of the name construction in our department. So it also describes to you fundamentally, in terms of the subjects that we offer in our department, the general areas that it relates to. So now to our two programs. So the first is the MSI in Construction Project Management, and the second, Construction Engineering, Innovation and Leadership, which is an MEng. The MSI Construction Project Management is the program that I manage. And so in the next sort of 10 to 15 minutes, I'll take you through what the program is about. First of all, let me explain who a construction project manager is. So from the slide, by definition, a project manager or project management is the application of the processes, methods, skills, knowledge, and experience to achieve specific project objectives. And normally, when we refer to project objectives, we are referring to cost, time, and quality. So project managers are responsible for delivering construction, building, or infrastructure projects within budget and also on time, and also delivering it to make sure that they're of the right quality. When you look at construction, it involves a lot of different disciplines from the definition that we provided earlier. And so you would have a number of consultants who are involved in the planning and design, then the execution, then the operation of facilities. Normally, this would include or involves an intricate amount of different processes and interfaces. And so you do need someone to coordinate all of the interfaces between these different professionals and processes. So on the slide, you'd realize we have professionals such as architects, planners, environmental consultants, engineers. They could be structural engineers, mechanical engineers. They deliver different aspects of the design of a building. We also have cost consultants who would advise on how much it's going to cost and control cost whilst you're building, and so many more that we couldn't possibly display on this chart. And beyond those consultants, you would have actually contractors who build. And on the average, each contractor would rely on so many different subcontractors as well as suppliers of materials. So already you realize this is a lot of people. And they are not only a lot of individual people, but there are a lot of people who belong to different organizations throughout that delivery. So, of course, that's not an easy task, getting them all to do what they're supposed to do at the right time and coordinating them to receive the right information in order to be able to do their task successfully. So who is the project manager? The project manager is at the center of all of this. So they coordinate all of those activities, making sure that everybody is making their contributions in a timely manner so that the projects can be delivered successfully. So the project manager could be considered a coordinator or a project leader. And a lot of the time he would sit between the interface of a client. A client is someone who pays money for a project to be delivered, and the project team. The project team obviously delivers. So the project manager would be the interface between these two, making sure they coordinate the rest of the project delivery team, all of those organizations, individuals and professionals, in order to deliver the project successfully. So that's who a project manager is. And then there's something that's happening within project management in construction. So the project manager is increasingly being seen as an agent of change, as an agent of transformation. And why is such transformation needed in construction? Construction industry has a number of challenges, okay? one of the major challenges in construction is actually the fact that we consume an enormous amount of non-renewable natural resource. So we are not very sustainable. So over 70 or 60% of all non-renewable natural resources that get extracted end up in a construction process, okay? And this would typically be materials that you would see being used in building housing and infrastructure, such as concrete, timber from wood, as well as steel, which is extracted from iron ore. So this is not very sustainable. So as a result of this, construction, unfortunately, is a higher contributor to the emission of carbon. And I'm sure we are all concerned about the levels of carbon dioxide, which is generally harmful to our health, and which emission is often associated with industrial activity. Construction happens to be one of those industrial activities which overall contributes up to 40%, both in terms of delivery of the project, but also operation of buildings. So all of that combined contributes to about 40% of carbon emissions. That's not a statistic that we're very proud of. Also, if you look at waste that goes into landfill, close to 50% of it is from construction activity. So it relates to materials that are used in a construction or maintenance process that needs to be disposed. I've mentioned certain popular non-sustainable materials like steel. So, for example, up to 400,000 tons of steel is used in construction, and that's about half of steel consumption globally. So clearly, we're not a very sustainable industry based on our traditional practices. We're also not very productive. So our productivity is slightly low compared to other industries such as manufacturing. However, there is transformation which is already happening within the industry. So if you look here on the slide, there are a number of drivers of such transformation. We're using more industrialized techniques, yeah, as opposed to labor-intensive techniques which we used to use that wasn't productive, or that was associated with low productivity. So now, generally, we're trying to emulate industries such as manufacturing, where we are using more automation, delivering parts of buildings in factories where it's more controlled, and presumably also more sustainable, and then basically take it on to site and then erect. We're also adopting more digitalization, so we're able to do simulations of how we're going to construct buildings using digital models or digital replicas or digital twins of those buildings after they've been designed to actually do the planning. And these digital tools are also helping us to optimize design before we actually go out and build it. So we're able to build more safer. I also mentioned automation, which means increasingly there are innovations around using automated processes, robotics to replace humans so that we're more productive as well as deliver more safely. So there is transformation, and all of these are already being deployed within the industry. However, on the average, a lot of people within construction, for example, project managers or just generally construction workers, are probably not being the quickest in adopting these innovations. And this is where our program comes in. So this is where our program comes in. We're trying to develop within our students certain skills that are viewed as skills that contemporary project managers need. And a lot of these skills, in addition to traditional skills such as being a leader and also being able to coordinate such an enormous construction process, is the skills around innovation, data, digitalization, and understanding modern manufacturing processes as opposed to labor-intensive processes. So these are skills that we consider as contemporary, and that is where our program comes in. So our program we view as a program that delivers skills to students that would help them in initiating as well as leading transformation within construction. So it's a 4-year integrated degree program. So being integrated means that it's got traditionally the undergraduate element, as well as a postgraduate element in a fourth year, where you generally do master's level modules. There are a number of features that the program has. So first of all, we have some core principles which cuts across the program. So these are not necessarily modules, but all of the modules engender these principles: environmental sustainability, health, safety, and well-being, equality, diversity, and inclusion, as well as industry transformation. You will be doing, so this program has been running for the past 2 years. It is a new program, but it's actually a program that was redesigned to replace an old undergraduate offering, which we have been running for a very long time. But in terms of its new structure, we've been running this for the past 2 years. So the current cohort is expected to be in their third year next year, or by the time you're joining, they're most likely going to be in their final year, the fourth year. So the program has got a number of the module structures that we've got: compulsory modules as well as optional modules, which I would be talking about in the next couple of slides. But in addition to that, we have got specialization streams. So before you complete the module, normally by your fourth and then your final year, you'll be able to specialize specifically in an aspect of project management. And these are the three streams that you can specialize. We've got project and program management, real estate management, as well as design and technology management. You can also elect to do placement whilst you're on the program. So if you elect to do placement, this would be after your second year, so between your second and third year, and essentially it will make it a 5-year program. Otherwise, it's a standard 4-year program. We're also doing our best to maintain small groups in this program. So it's not going to be a program where you're going to meet large sizes of classes. We generally try to maintain small cohort sizes. And even where the cohort sizes are large, we tend to do things in smaller groups as well, just to give you as much interactivity as possible with members of staff. These are the 5 compulsory module clusters. So we've got the industry cluster: management, professional practice, technology, and integration. I would go into the detail of what this is in the next couple of slides. And then these are the optional module clusters. So again, I mentioned that you can specialize in a specific aspect of project management earlier on. If you do specialize, then you'd be taking optional modules in these particular streams. So that's project and program management, real estate management, or design and technology management. The program runs from UCL's main campus in Bloomsbury in central London, but you also have access to all of our facilities across London, including our newest campus, which is in East London at Stratford, where we've got a number of state-of-the-art facilities, including labs that support digital innovation research, which is a core theme of the program. Okay, so now I'll go into the details of the module clusters. I wouldn't go into the details of the modules itself. So we've got the industry cluster, which introduces you basically to what our industry is, the shape, its structure. The management cluster introduces you to the principles of project management, as well as management of people and leadership. And then we've got professional practice, which deals with certain important professional practice areas in construction that we expect project managers to understand, for example, law. And then also we've got the technology stream, which introduces you to the basic concepts of engineering and design of buildings, as well as technologies that are used for the management of the delivery of buildings, but also infrastructure. And so these are the streams. So over here, you'd see that we've outlined that in the first year, you do 8 modules. In the second year, you do 8 modules, which are all compulsory. You may go out for a year in industry on placement, or you choose to go straight to your third and then fourth years. And if you go to your third and then your fourth years, what you realize now is that in the third year, you do 2 compulsory modules and then 2 optional modules, which you choose in your area of specialization. So essentially that would be 4 modules for that year. It's 4 modules because in the third and final year, the modules become a lot bigger. So in terms of credits, whilst year 1 and 2 are 15 credits, in year 3 and 4, you have 30 credit modules. Then in the final year, you have one compulsory module, thoughts module, and then one optional module from your specialization stream. And then you do a dissertation, which is independent research. So basically, that is the structure of the program. As I mentioned earlier, we try to use a wide range of different teaching methods, focusing primarily on small group teaching, but also we use a variety so that it can suit the needs of different students. So there's a mix of lectures, seminars, group projects, problem-based learning, software sessions, practical sessions. And then also in terms of assessment, we also use a mix because we recognize that different students have different ways of learning, and then different methodologies would suit different students. And so you're sure to have one particular method that suits your your approach. Okay, so this is my so I'm getting to the end of my presentation. So just to give you a flavor of what we expect our students to end up being in terms of a professional career. Primarily, our students would either work for a client. So a client is someone who actually goes out to procure projects or to pay for projects to be delivered for them. So there are huge client organizations who require project managers to help them with initiating and delivering their projects. An example would be the government. Many government agencies deliver a lot of projects for public good. There are also private clients who procure projects, from hotels to you name it, to stadia, to all sorts of projects that support our daily lives. So you might work for such a client, or you might work for a consultant who advises a client, or you would actually work for a contractor who actually does the delivery. So these are the three main categories of types of employers who our students end up with. In terms of our department, I've just named a few very popular employers where our graduates have gotten jobs, and all of them are either in the top list of UK or global consultancy firms, client organizations, or contract organizations. So these are just a few that I've listed in the screen. So broadly, you might be expecting to be sitting in an office, helping with decisions relating to the planning of projects, or the design of projects, or the control of the delivery of projects, or you might actually be on site, actually coordinating all of the activities that go on site to ensure that these projects are built. And so these pictures on the screen would also give you a bit of an idea of the range of work settings that graduates from our program end up in terms of their professional careers. I think thank you very much. So that's it. That gives you an overview of our program, the MSI in Construction Project Management. So at this stage, I'll hand over to Adrian, who directs our other program, which is the MEng in Construction Engineering, Innovation and Leadership, for her to give us an overview of that program. So over to you, Adrian.
Thank you, Abdul. I'm going to share my screen. Sec. Right. Are you able to see it?
Not yet, Adrian. Okay, now we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about the Master of Engineering program in Construction Engineering, Innovation and Leadership. So that builds on related to what Abdul has been talking about, but going sort of covering a different type of activity. So while Abdul is focused on the actual construction, we are looking for more the leadership in construction through this degree. So just for a bit of information, when you're thinking of construction, this is strongly related to civil engineering. So you might look at structural engineering, environmental engineering, transport engineering, or geotechnical engineering. There are many, many more fields you can do when you study engineering related topics. These are just examples. For example, through structural engineering, which I'm a structural engineer, you might construct bridges, roads, bridges, dams, airports, you might deal with earthquakes or various other infrastructure projects. In terms of environment engineering, you might look at water management, sustainability, air quality, noise, or solid waste management. As an example, you've got two aspects. For example, within water, you might look at flooding and water treatment supply. Within sustainability, you might, so I'll try to get rid of this. Okay. We might look at environmental management or life cycle assessment. So that gives you a great deal of choice what you might like to do in the future. All of that is related to construction. Now, what might come out of a construction site is bridges. Obviously, I'm a bridge engineer, so I'm very fond of and very interested in small and large-scale construction projects. This is another bridge construction project in the UK. You might might be interested in construction of railways, very complex structures. Crossrail, this is lowering a tunneling machine into the Elizabeth line, I understand. This is another tunneling picture. Or you might be interested in very different types of construction projects, for example, for nuclear power stations. There are two currently being built in the UK. One is Hinkley Point, and the other one is Sizewell. These are long-term projects taking probably over 10 years, 10, 15 years. So these are very complex operations. So it needs people who can have an overview of what's happening, partially on the construction site, but also in terms of overall management, leadership, and strategy for the coming years. You might be interested in managing existing infrastructure. So some of the infrastructure is being built, but mostly they are already being used. So infrastructure management is a great issue. You might be interested in going into policymaking and need to understand how policymaking works. So the MEng program that we are offering is training future leaders of the engineering and construction industry. It is a cross-disciplinary program, which includes obviously construction, and I shall show you the various strands. It includes project management, sustainability, innovation, and various other modules. Similarly to the previous MEng, it is also a 4-year integrated course. It doesn't have a placement year, so we expect students to go straight through the 4 years without interruptions. We are teaching disciplines of design and construction, also innovation trends and leadership skills. So this is, as you can tell, it's a slightly different flavor, and we are training a new generation of leaders for the construction industry. The course was designed and set up with leaders of the construction industry. They came together and discussed what are the future leaders, what future leaders need to do and need to be. So they came up with a program diet, a list of topics that might be relevant for this. And this is a unique course. You won't find it anywhere else. You generally have construction engineering, project management courses or civil engineering courses or management courses. But you don't find anywhere else in the UK or indeed around the world a course which is bringing to various aspects to develop future leaders in the construction industry. So we are bringing in leadership skills, leadership modules, sustainability and air quality modules, technology like innovative technology, obviously fundamental engineering skills, management skills, and whole life thinking skills or knowledge. We've got this is a 4-year course, and as you can see, the modules are quite colorful. So the colors obviously relate to the 6 strands shown in the bottom, or 7 strands. We start with engineering skills. So those are the yellow ones. These are being taught by the civil engineering faculty at UCL. So they cover all the fundamental engineering skills that a civil engineering student would learn. However, because we are covering other types of modules, they are sort of focused more on the fundamental skills. So you won't go too much into finite element modeling, for example, but you will learn and understand the basics and the general idea of finite element modeling. And you will do smaller projects on that as well. So the fundamental is to understand the skills and speak the same language that to allow you to communicate with people who are on the construction site, and designers and engineers and project managers, so on. The second one, for example, the red colors is the leadership strands. We cover leadership in the first, second, and fourth year with the leadership history and contents, sustainability, leadership and sustainability, leadership and productivity, and anticipating the future and leading at large scale. Year 4, for example, anticipating the future includes understanding how to predict what is likely to become important for the construction industry in the coming, say, 10 years. So obviously, you need skills to future-proof the industry. With an average engineering degree, you wouldn't necessarily have the skills to do that. The blue modules relate to innovative technology. Technologies, for example, concept of digital technologies, construction technologies, advanced construction technologies, digital technologies in design and delivery, in operation and management. We also have the gray ones, which are fundamentals concept of whole life thinking. Then we jump to the fourth year, which is whole life resilience. Resilience, for example, is a great issue for infrastructure managers. They often have to negotiate limited budgets, the drive for net zero, which doesn't always provide long life resilience. So for railways, for example, you need to make sure that it is still going to be operational in the coming 50, 100 or 150 years. So what are the intervention they can deploy to make the system resilient? Finally, the sustainability modules are the green ones: sustainability history and context, materials and technologies, building physics, anything related to buildings and heating and other aspects, systems approach in sustainability, and environmental modeling and sustainability. Finally, the last, the brown field relate to management of projects and programs, construction management, and that is jointly delivered with the construction management module that Abdul has been talking about. We also cover commercial management and regulation, compliance, and safety. So this is the diet for the fourth year. We have 2 sets of industry projects. So in the third year, you are going to have a large industry project, both in the first and second term. This will be delivered jointly with industry professionals. And in the fourth year, you're going to do a dissertation. Similar to the previous MEng, it is a large module. So if you've got any questions on this, I'm happy to discuss anything further on. Timetable, this will be the first year timetable. So you've got modules on Mondays, Tuesday, there are no lectures. Wednesday morning we've got lectures, but all universities have scores day Wednesday afternoons. So you won't have any lectures Wednesday afternoons. Thursday we've got a full day of teaching as well. And as you can see, there are tutorials, and sometimes tutorials are included in lectures. Similar to the mentioned construction project management, we also have small classes. So we are starting off with 30 students, and you may have 30 or 40 students, but they will be broken down into tutorials. You will therefore have small group teaching, so you are not attending large lectures. Now, once you've done this course, what you want to do? You may want to go into civil engineering leadership. That would mean leading teams in designing and maintaining infrastructure. And infrastructure, as I mentioned on the first slide, might be transport infrastructure, energy, like power stations, water management, like the Thames barrier, or telecoms industry. So HS2 might be a large project, Hinkley Point, Tideway, London Gatwick expansion of the North Drive, London Gatwick developments, or transport from London. You might go on to actually doing project management, overseeing infrastructure construction projects. You might want to go into sustainable construction innovation. That would be looking at driving adaptation in artificial intelligence, robotics, low carbon materials. So what are the upcoming innovation opportunities that could be integrated into the construction industry? You might go into infrastructure management and planning. So as you can imagine, for large-scale infrastructure project, planning will take a long time, and managing a national infrastructure strategy is a key issue at the leadership level. Large-scale urban projects might be an opportunity as well, planning reforms, and so on. The government body that deals with it is the National Infrastructure Service and Transformation Authority. So this is a new organization that literally started less than a month ago. So that incorporated the Natural Infrastructure Commission and another government body. So they're looking at managing existing infrastructure projects as well as strategic planning for the future. Planning Inspectorate, another one that is dealing with infrastructure planning and development. Policy and regulation. You might want to work with government or industry groups to shape the future of the construction industry. You might get involved in developing standards and sustainability policies. Industry bodies, as I mentioned, might be the Institute of Civil Engineers, it might be the Chartered Institute of Buildings, or other industry bodies that bring together professionals. You might want to go into consulting and advisory roles. This would be providing expertise on life cycle assessment, environmental impact metrics, and resilience. Government bodies, for example, dealing with that would be the Government for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities, or other leadership roles which involve entrepreneurship and industry leadership. So you might want to found and lead firms that are focused on sustainable construction and innovation. So this is the end of my presentation on the MEng for Construction Engineering, Innovation and Leadership. We are now open for Q&A. So if you've got any questions, please drop them into the Q&A section here. I shall stop sharing.
Okay, yep, thank you very much, Adrian. I think we've got one question for you, Adrian. Why should I choose this course over civil engineering?
Okay, you don't have to, so it's entirely up to you. If you want to deal more, if you want to focus more on the actual civil engineering design and construction aspect, then you would probably choose a traditional civil engineering degree. If you are more of a leadership person and you want to shape the future of the construction industry to help integrate digital technology, develop the sustainability practices, develop future large-scale infrastructure projects, you will be better suited on this with this course. So I hope, happy to answer further questions, more in-depth questions on this. Will I miss out on key engineering modules? No. All of them are within the 4 civil engineering modules that are taught in the first and second years. So those are taught through the civil engineering faculty, and everything is covered. So you won't miss out on anything. What are the entry requirements for those programs? Do they require submission of portfolios? So I think we've got 2 stars and then 2 A stars and an A, or 2 A. I need to check it up.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's on the web page.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's a triple A for the MEng, and it's an ABB for the MSI in construction project management. So for the MSI in construction project management, we have got a preferred subject list, but then it's you don't necessarily have to do those subjects, but having those subjects would be an advantage. And the preferred subjects are statistics, mathematics, information communication technology, geography, economics, or business. So if you're from these subject areas, then obviously you have an advantage. But we're not restricted to those subjects. We do make offers depending on the strength of the application to other subject areas. I don't know, Adrian, if you have specific subject requirements for the MEng.
We have the same, and I think these are listed on the webpage. We also have a preferred subject list.
Okay.
More technical ones,
and you do not need a portfolio submission. It's just a standard UCAS application, which includes a personal statement. So as much as possible, we would want you to use the personal statement to state or sort of demonstrate your motivation for the subject area, previous experience that's relevant, clarify your qualifications, and also, so for example, if you've been involved in extracurricular activities that demonstrate that you're suited for a profession in our subject area, that would be useful for you to demonstrate using a personal statement. If there are works you have done in the past that ordinarily you would have submitted in a portfolio, demonstrate that in your personal statement, but we wouldn't request for a portfolio specifically as part of our review.
I don't understand the next question from I don't understand the absence of maths and physics in your program. Your students know less, but you are civil engineers. I'm not quite sure I understand the question. So maths and physics is obviously not a subject that you would necessarily be taught in a civil engineering course, but you would apply mathematics and physics principles for the subject-specific modules. So I'm not sure. Please ask again if there is something I haven't explained.
And then there's another question on, will there be a module on construction project finance? Yes, on the MSI construction project management, there are a number of modules where you would be learning about construction project finance. So we have a module in the second year on cost control, but also for most of the project management modules, you do deal with project finance as well. But then there's a dedicated module around costs, and I believe on the MEng as well, there's there are project management modules, and there's a module on commercial management. So in those relate to cost, contracts, and ultimately project finance is usually within the remit of such courses. So we do deal with project finance.
When do we choose a pathway? I think that's yours as well.
Yeah, so again, I think that's mine. The pathways you would choose in your third year. So in the third and the final year, which is the fourth year, that's when you do optional modules, and those optional modules will be based on your pathway. So when you're leaving year 2, so currently we have students in year 2 who have just indicated or expressed their interest in different pathways. So by the end of year 2, we would ask you to express interest, and then in year 3, you would be on a pathway.
Next one, I currently have an offer for civil engineering at Imperial and also an offer for this course here at UCL. I can't really decide. Wow, well, congratulations. That's impressive. With Imperial or any civil engineering course, I would say you can study civil engineering. Obviously, you will be you're in a very good place. It's not unique. It's an excellent university and it's an excellent course. It's not unique. So if you want to, very often if there's competition and you've got say 100 people applying for a job, which is they're going to look at what, apart from knowing understanding the basics and being a quality applicant, what can you offer beyond what everyone else can offer? And I think with the civil engineering course, your advantage will be that it's Imperial, which is equally as good as UCL. With this particular course, you are definitely offering something extra, which will enable you to lead the industry. If you are interested mostly on hands-on technical projects, I would go for a civil engineering course. If your personality is better suited for leading the way and interested and excited about the future of the industry, construction, you then sort of consider more the UCL program. Happy to chat more kind of separately if you've got questions on that. So do drop me an email.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Adrian. So specifically in relation to that question, so we do have offer holder days, which is for students or candidates who have an offer from us. So do look out in the timetable for an offer holder day, or like Adrian said, I think you could always send an email separately to have a chat. So I'll move on to so there was a question about how difficult is it to secure a placement year for construction project management. It actually isn't. So as I mentioned, we are a world leading faculty of the built environment and also a world leading construction department. What that means is that we've got a large network of industry organizations, reputable ones, who are associated with us and do offer us different support. So, for example, we've got an industry advisory board that draws leaders from different construction sectors and organizations, and they routinely provide us advice about availability of opportunities. So, whenever we have opportunities, we do let our students know. But the fact that you are on a UCL program means that even on your own, it's relatively not as hard to find placements in organizations. The other things that we do is we create opportunities for you to network with industry whilst you're here. So we let you develop skills so that you can actually go out and confidently look for these placements. Okay. There's another question. I'm not sure if it's for me or you, Adrian. What kind of optional classes will be offered? For example, will any finance or economics course be available? I can answer that. On the MSI construction project management, in year 1, you do economics as a module. And then, so currently, we do not offer students the opportunity to go to other departments to take modules. So I don't know if that's what you're referring to. However, on the program itself, you would have modules where you would deal with finance and then economics.
I can see a question on accreditation upon completion of the program. So
yeah,
you can start and
I take that first. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
So in terms of accreditation, the MSI Construction Project Management is in the process of applying for 3 accreditations with the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, Chartered Institution of Building, and then the Association of Project Management. So one application is already in Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. So that would be the first accreditation. Definitely by the time the first cohorts would have graduated, there would be accreditation, at least the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. But we are confident we will have all 3. there was a requirement that the program needed to have started before the accreditation is sought, and that's why we're seeking it now. So by the close of the program, the accreditation would have been completed. All of our programs in the past in construction project management were accredited by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors and Chartered Institution of Building. So we do already have that history, and it's on that basis we are doing the accreditation, and confident that before the first cohort graduates, we would already have accreditation in place.
For the MEng on Construction Engineering, Innovation and Leadership, it will take a little longer. The reason being that it's not a standard degree. If it was a standard civil engineering degree or project management degree, we could apply for the standard accreditation process. Because this is at the first degree on its own, there hasn't been any accreditation developed for this type of programs. So we've spoken to the chair of Engineering Council, so they are looking after all the accreditations. He's in agreement that this MEng should be accredited. The question is which industry body, institution will accredit it. We are just exploring Institution of Civil Engineers, and literally the last couple of days had an email that they will be very open to accredit it, but we are exploring what is the right path to do this. So I'm pretty sure it will be accredited, but we are in the process of organizing this.
So that was actually the question on pathway. I understand was actually for you, Adrian.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was whether or not there's a pathway on your program. So can they choose specialization streams?
Oh, right. You mean?
Yeah.
So all modules are compulsory. So we've got no options, unlike the MSci. So everything is compulsory. You can't choose anything. There's no choice to specialize. However, you will have an industry project in the third year and a dissertation project in the fourth year. These will bring together everything that you've learned during the previous years. If you can specialize in any topic that you like through these projects. So the first one will be a group project, and the dissertation an individual project. So what people do is to pick a topic that they are interested in, and the dissertation should help them to get a job more easily in the field that they are interested in. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, so there was another question on elective modules, but I think this answer actually addresses that as well. And then there's this question that it doesn't read very clearly, Marina. So please do write it again, but we'll make an attempt. I guess this is for Adrian. It says, I mean, to be a leader in construction needs more technical knowledge than civil engineers, not less, plus knowledge in finance and so on. None of that in your program.
Everything that is.
Edwin, yeah, if you take it first, okay. And then I'll take it from MSI.
You need the fundamental understanding of every civil engineering aspect that is taught by standard civil engineering degrees. Everything is in here. Knowledge of finance will have, as I shown you, we covered project management, and finance is part of it. So you understand, obviously, the fundamental principles of finance. And none of that is in your program. That's not true. So I'm afraid it's very happy to discuss more what is in the modules, but the modules and the streams have been developed with leaders in the construction industry, and we followed very much about what they say the future leader should be. We also cover the whole range of what future leaders will need. So everything will be in it. I can guarantee that. Next question.
Fantastic.
Item that is very new, so I wanted to ask if there are any offer holders this year, and how many students are projected to study this course for that. So I think we are thinking of 40. I'm not sure if you can apply for it already. I'm not familiar with admissions, but certainly there. Are you aware of that?
Sorry, so which of the questions is it? So that in terms of admissions.
if there are many offer holders this year and how many students. So we are still open this year for clearing. So we are still offering spaces for students to start in September this year. And obviously we haven't started recruiting for next year. So either way, you are welcome to apply.
Okay, so there's another one for you, Adrian. When
So
will optional modules start?
Yes, no optional modules, and what kind of courses can we choose? No, you can't.
And then I think the last one probably is for me. So why not should you take a placement here? Okay, so that's a good question. So placement here, what we found is anytime our students, so construction project management is a very practical field of study. Yeah. So it requires understanding a lot how things are done. Yeah. So you could call it very vocational. It's not theoretical. Yeah. So you don't come to learn, for example, if you went to read a degree in social science or philosophy, you're coming to learn things that actually happen in a certain professional practice area. So what happens is we think experiential learning is encouraged. So although we try to do that during your study, if you had an opportunity to actually go out and experience things, it does also help in reinforcing what we are teaching. And what we found is that anytime students go out on placement and come back, they're quite different in terms of their understanding. They become almost very mature in their understanding and appreciation. So we do recommend it. However, we also understand that it doesn't meet everybody's personal kind of goals or plans. Some people might want to graduate a bit earlier and then look for a job afterwards. For example, a lot of our international students come from contexts where placement isn't as much useful when you're still on your program. So for them, they definitely wouldn't necessarily find it to be very important. However, a lot of our home students actually find that doing a placement helps in the understanding of the subject, but also by the time they're going out to look for jobs, they're able to demonstrate that they already have some work experience. If you don't take the full placement year, you're always welcome to take summer internships and placements. Some students also choose to do that if they want to graduate quickly enough, but otherwise, so I don't see a specific disadvantage either way. It just depends on personally your career goals.
Right, the next one. Yeah. Can we shortly say that this module, not sure which one it refers to, will give us the relevant knowledge and skills of preventing people getting lost in translation about various technical disciplines. Not sure which one it is, but I'm sure both of them would be.
Yeah, I think we can both make an attempt. Yeah. Yeah. So when you go out into professional practice, you would realize that leadership or the management of projects itself is a technical skill area. Yeah, coordinating all of this amount of information, task, as well as people in itself, it's a task on its own. So we do think that for you to learn it, you need to focus on it and learn. If also rather than learning all of the technical skills, then learning this as well as an additional skill. Okay. So if like Adrian said earlier on, it depends on personally what you believe to be what your interests are. If you are more computational, mathematical, and you want to be involved in modeling, design, all of your professional career, yeah, then you should go for a course that has more of the technical skills. Yeah. But if you're more interested in coordinating, managing people, which is also a very important aspect of the delivery of projects, then it's better that you know only the most relevant technical skills and then focus on these other skills of coordination. So I wouldn't say it's a choice between necessarily not having all of the technical skills, because even the technical skills, there's so many of them, there's so many specializations, no one has all of them. Everyone picks one particular one that's of interest. Yeah.
Next one is for the MEng. Will I learn about real estate and investment? I mentioned when I showed you the different modules and colors that came up for the fourth year. In the third year, you are going to cover commercial management. The third year, you've got construction management, and the third year, commercial management. You also cover regulation, compliance, and safety. So this any aspect that's relevant for construction industry relating real estate and investment will come up in that module. Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
I think in the
Yep, I think we need to wrap it up now.
Yep.
3 minutes past.
Yes. So yeah. So I guess Adrian, I'll let you wrap up.
Yeah. So if you've got any questions, please drop us an email. Hopefully you got our emails or contact address. Thank you very much for joining us, and looking forward to answering either more of your questions